talk about fears. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I got fears, but I ain't got no love. Yes, I got fears. Fear of plane crash. Fear of car crash. Oh, fear of sex. Fear of alcohol.
So this week we're looking at the yogurt shop murders, and I wanted to do a little bit of a bonus video for this week. This week I'm going to throw in a video about criminal profiling, crime scene assessment. If there was ever a case that I saw that was rife for criminal profile, I believe it's this one. And that's why I want... Some cases you don't get that. Missing person cases, when you don't have a crime scene, it's very hard to deduce anything or take anything from that. But here, I think there is a lot that's given that I'm able to look at it and tell you what I think. I hate to say criminal profiling all the time because to me, again, it's always more about crime scene assessment. And what I mean by that is looking at the crime scene and deducing things from that. For example, I'll get into that. So for these yogurt shop murders, quadruple homicide, 4 individuals, females, 2 age 17, 1 15, 1 13. The 15-year-old and one of the 17-year-olds were sisters. The 2 17-year-olds were working that night, and the 15 and 13-year-olds kind of happened upon them. They were planning a sleepover with them, and they were coming to the shop to help them clean up so they could get out on time. That's going to be important. But from the crime scene, this is what I can deduce. Number one, and I want to preface this by saying this is just my opinion based on my experience and my education. Now, I think the FBI did a criminal profile on this, if I'm not mistaken. And I think in one of the newspaper reports that I read, they had said that. I don't know if mine will agree or disagree with them, but I'm going to tell you what I think. Number one, there was at least 2 of them for sure. And I'm going to stick with there was 2. The reason that I say that, obviously, is because there were 2 weapons used. A .22 revolver was used to kill or to shoot all 4 victims. But then a .380 was introduced and shot Amy Ayers, the 13-year-old, as well as the .22. Therefore, most offenders are not carrying 2 guns. However, as everything, that's not foolproof. Could have 2 guns, one could have jammed, could have ran out of bullets, and resorted to a .380. That's highly unlikely in my opinion, hence my assertion that there was 2 or more offenders, but I'm going to say 2. And the reason I say 2 is the area of where these bodies were found, very small. In addition, there was 2 individuals seen in the yogurt shop at closing time when this happened. And I think more than likely that they are probably the offenders, but 2, possibly 3 offenders. They were experienced offenders. Age frame is going to be... an age frame's always hard. I hate people that just arbitrarily throw out ages and they don't back that up. but I will say they were over 20 for sure. And that's about as far as I could deduce. And the reason I say that is because I believe that these offenders had done a stint in prison. Could have been local jail, but I tend to believe it was state time, and I'll get into more as to why I believe that. But with them not bringing the individuals, the victims were bound and gagged. Okay, to me, that shows an experienced offender. The whole totality of everything tells me that these offenders were in some sort of correctional facility. And to go even further than that, I will state that I believe that they were placed in a correctional facility due to an eyewitness testimony. Now, how do you back that up, Kenny? Well, this is how I back that up. If your intent is to burglarize or rob a business, why kill the individuals? There's only two reasons. One is because they know you, or one of them knows you, at least one of them knows you. Or two, because you're not going to let the mistake happen again. Does that make sense? So, in my thought process, it's more as if, okay, we burglarized this business, we got the money, now it's witness elimination. I have to get rid of these witnesses because remember the last time we were, or at least one of them, was identified through an eyewitness at a trial or whatever it was, and I'm not taking that chance again. That's what I believe. I believe that it was not planned in a sense. I believe that it could have been hastily cased. And by that I mean it appears that all the other businesses closed earlier than the yogurt shop did that night or on a routine basis. So this was a Friday, and I always say that that's very important because Friday is a good indicator of the party weekend. It's starting. You know, when a crime happens on a Wednesday or Thursday, that is different to me than when it happens on a Friday or Saturday. So in this case, I believe that it could possibly have been somebody out looking for money for drugs or to party with. I believe that. When I say that the place had been cased hastily, I mean it didn't go down as planned. And I'll explain it to you as this. Their own clothing were used to bind them. If you plan extensively for a case like this, you would bring your own bindings. Because how do you know what bindings are in there? Unless you've done it before. Okay? So, to me, the offenders, it's either one or two. They had tied up people in burglaries or robberies before with their own clothing, or more than likely they were not expecting the two people in the back. So what do I mean by that? You have two people working. They're casing the place out. They know that two people are working. Okay, now the sister and the sister's friend shows up and they're in the back doing dishes. And this is according to several witnesses. They didn't see them out front, but we know they were there. So to me, that possibly could mean, okay, your two or three offenders are planning this. They see two people in there. Then all of a sudden, when it happens, when it goes down, they're surprised to see there's four people there. Now the element of control is kind of unbalanced. You can control two people, obviously a lot more than four people. So then you use the clothing as bindings, as like almost like a weapon of opportunity. So it's one of the two. I tend to believe that they were experienced, but this caught them off guard. I tend to believe that the offenders had burglarized businesses in the past where it was almost closing time. I believe that. I have that written down. I don't think that they killed before, but they may have. That's a tough one to decide. And the reason I talk about this is that they were shot execution style. Looks like in the back of the head when they were laying down. Again, it's possible that they had done that before. What I do know, I think for sure, is that at least one of them had experience with arson. You set the place on fire, like I said, because you want to destroy evidence, and it's why you kill the people. No witnesses. To me, that's a learned mentality. You learn that. You learn that in a correctional facility. You learn that through past successes or past mistakes, one or the other. I have some more notes written down here on the criminal profile. Sexual assault. Okay. I have to get into this because originally when I looked at this, I saw that there was no sexual assault that occurred. So that then the further I researched, I saw that, yes, 2 of the girls were raped. That throws a whole new dynamic into a criminal profile or a crime scene assessment. Now, you got to, okay, why? What's this about? To me, I still believe that this homicides were a burglary, a robbery. Stripping them to use their bindings to control them because they were caught off guard by being 4 of them. The rape of 2 of them, I believe, was a secondary motive. It wasn't planned. It was more evolved. They were comfortable in that shop. The front door was locked. The back door's there. Like I said, they had cased that at least that night. Could have been a night prior, but some sort of hasty case of that place took place. They probably parked their car out back, and that's where the egress was. Now, why does the rape occur? There are many cases that either a robbery happens, that's the intent, and a rape and a murder occur secondary to that, and vice versa. Obviously, it's one or the other for this case, and I believe it's the secondary. The rape occurred, and it occurred because the girls stripped down, because the offenders used their bindings, and it was an opportunity, and they felt comfortable in that back room. Now, I've not seen photos of the back of that yogurt shop, but I'm guessing it had no windows. And that's why everything happened in the back there. And I'll get more into this, into the deep dive. I'll get into the timeline, what I think happened. But this criminal profile and crime scene assessment stood out to me. And I wanted to get that out to you because I think it's important. It's important when you look at the totality of everything in order to try to deduce who's responsible for this. And it's not a lot, but that's because I don't like to say anything that I'm not sure about. Like, I can't say race, white or black. I don't know that. Now, if you went off of statistics, which criminal profiling does a lot, you look at the population, then maybe you're able to say, okay, it could be a white male or a black male, but I'm not ready to do that because I can't tell that from the crime scene. A crime scene assessment is what does the crime scene tell you? That's it. It doesn't tell me whether the offender is white or black. It doesn't tell me the age, other than I believe he was old enough to have been incarcerated into a facility at one time. It could have been a juvenile facility, which places the offender from age 20 and up. You could go as far as saying 20 to, let's say, 50. And the reason you would stop at 50 is because the bodies were stacked, so that took some sort of strength in order to do that. But if there's two of them, well, then you have help. So you can't limit it to age 20 to 50. And that's how I do my crime scene assessments and crime scene profiles. So hopefully you learn something from this, or you maybe see things through my eyes. And we'll get through this the whole week of this yogurt shop murders, and you'll see what I see when I put it all together on Wednesday's deep dive. That's it for this Ken's crime scene assessment. Hey, it could be a new thing that we start for the week. Maybe I'll throw that in on Tuesdays along with Ken's key clue. We'll have 2 videos on Tuesdays, if the crime scene warrants it. Okay, for that, you know what's next. As always, hey, Maine's out.